You can't play games with your time and expect to be mighty. You can't live shallow, distracted, self-absorbed lives and expect to become unshakable. There are men and women wasting years, drowning in triviality, while their potential sits unused, buried under apathy and compromise. Let me tell you this plainly. The world does not need more entertained people. The world needs people who are awake, alert, and yielding. It needs people who refuse to quit when it's hard. People who don't need applause to do what's right. People who burn with such purpose that even hell trembles when they rise. But that kind of person is not born. That kind of person is forged. You want to be unstoppable. You want to live with unshakable fire. You want to walk into dark places and not be moved. Then don't look for comfort. Don't seek ease. Look for fire. Look for a place where you'll be broken, remade, and set ablaze with conviction that won't be silenced. It starts with a decision, and then it starts again and again, every day, for 7 days. Only 7, but not weak, shallow days. 7 days of absolute intention. 7 days of confrontation with your own soul. 7 days that, if you do not waver, could birth something in you that lasts a lifetime. The first day, silence, not laziness, not indifference. Silence. Stop feeding yourself noise. For 1 hour every day, unplug. No phone, no news, no scrolling, no music. Just you, your thoughts, and the weight of who you are. Most people can't bear their own minds because they've spent so long avoiding them. But if you want to lead yourself, if you want to be strong, then you must first face yourself. Sit in the silence, let it strip away your distractions, let it show you what you've become. Some of you have never faced your own thoughts without a buffer. You will not become mighty while hiding behind noise. You will not become unstoppable until you stare your weakness in the face and refuse to bow to it. Day 1 is not easy, but nothing worth becoming is. Day 2 is discipline, not tomorrow, today. Wake up at the same time every morning. Don't negotiate with your pillow. Don't entertain excuses. Get up early. And when you rise, don't scroll. Don't wander. Don't waste the first moments of your life each day. Stand with purpose. If you can't conquer your morning, how will you conquer a mountain? If you can't obey your own alarm, how will you command your future? There are people whose lives are paralyzed by their inability to do small things with consistency. You must choose this day to command your time. Order your habits. Take authority over the hours given to you. It's not legalism, it's war, and the undisciplined lose. Day 3 is integrity. Every word you speak, every promise you make, every commitment you enter, treat it like covenant. Do not say you'll do something and leave it undone. If you say you will be somewhere, be there. If you say you will deliver, deliver. No exceptions. There is no power in a man whose word means nothing. The unstoppable man is not merely talented. He is trustworthy. He does not hide behind charisma. He builds credibility with sweat and follow through. Some of you are waiting for breakthrough when what you really need is to be reliable. You're praying for open doors, but you're late to everyone already opened. You want favor, but your yes doesn't mean yes. If your word has no weight, your life never will. Let day 3 break you. Let it kill every trace of deceit, every shadow of inconsistency. Rise with integrity or don't rise at all. Day 4 is mastery of your flesh. Fasting, not because it's trendy, because your body does not rule you. You do not live to serve cravings. You do not bow to appetites. Go without something today. Deny your body. Teach it submission. It could be food. It could be social media. It could be caffeine. You choose. But choose something and say no. Watch how your flesh resists. Watch how it complains. That's the voice that's been running your life far too long. Shut it down. You are not created to be ruled by urges. If you are a slave to your impulses, you will never be free. Master your appetite or be mastered by it. That is the law. You don't become unstoppable by feeding your weakness. You become unstoppable by silencing it. Day 5 is mission, and this is where most men and women fail. They don't know why they rise. They don't know what they're building. They wander from one idea to the next, following feelings, living on impulse, running from pain. You want to become unstoppable, then you must have a reason. A cause, a fire that wakes you up and won't let you sleep. Sit down, take out a journal, ask yourself, why am I here? What am I willing to die for? What will I build that outlives me? What injustice will I confront? What legacy will I leave? This is not emotional fluff. This is war. Write it down, refine it, make it plain. You cannot chase fog. You must run with focus. You must become a man, a woman of singular mission. Because purpose is a weapon, and most people walk around unarmed. Day 6 is confrontation, and not with others, with yourself. Stand in front of a mirror, look in your own eyes, ask yourself, what am I hiding? What am I compromising? Where have I allowed decay? Don't flinch, don't run, don't water it down. Expose the lies, confess the secrets, acknowledge the laziness, drag the hidden things into the light. You cannot conquer what you're unwilling to face, and you will never be free while you protect your chains. Too many people decorate their prisons. They excuse their sin. They rename their fear. They call cowardice caution, and failure just a phase. Stop it. Today is the day of reckoning. If you lie to yourself now, you will be weak tomorrow. But if you confront the rot, if you tear down the idols, if you repent without excuse, there is power in that. Freedom. Fire, that's where the shift happens. Not in pretending you're strong, but in letting the truth break you so you can finally rise. And now, day 7, the day of action. You've been silent. You've been disciplined. You've chosen integrity. You've fasted. You've clarified your mission. You've exposed your soul. Now move. Do not wait for permission. Do not ask for signs. Go. Today, do the thing you've delayed. Start the project. Make the call. Confront the issue. Write the plan. Show up. It doesn't need to be perfect. It needs to be real, because action is what separates dreamers from warriors. Vision without execution is fantasy. You are not made for fantasy. You were made to fight. You were made to build. You were made to carry weight. So go. Take everything you've faced this week and turn it into momentum. Stop rehearsing. Start advancing. You're not called to hide in preparation forever. There is a time for study and a time for sweat. This is the day of sweat. But hear me. This is not about a 7-day sprint. This is a beginning. These days are not a trend. They are a declaration. You are drawing a line in the sand. You are saying no more. No more wasting time. No more waiting for motivation. No more sleepwalking through life. You will rise. You will move. You will become the person no storm can shake. Not because you're perfect, but because you are rooted, because you have seen yourself and you have refused to bow. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are not defined by your feelings. You are not limited by your past. You are what you choose to become, daily, intentionally, ruthlessly. And if you choose these habits, if you choose silence, discipline, integrity, mastery, mission, confrontation, and action, then you will become a force this world cannot stop, because the world is not changed by those who coast. It is changed by those who burn. True transformation requires intentional daily discipline and self-confrontation. Becoming unstoppable is not about talent or motivation, but about choosing consistent, purposeful habits that forge character, confront weakness, and build unshakable inner strength. Action fueled by conviction is what separates dreamers from warriors. Vision and preparation must lead to execution. Your mission must move from thought to movement, from planning to bold, disciplined action. True transformation requires intentional daily discipline and self-confrontation, not vague desire, not fleeting emotion, not momentary inspiration. We are living in a time where people speak often about becoming their best selves, but few are willing to actually face the cost of it. And there is always a cost. Transformation does not come in a bottle, in a book, or in a seminar. It is not given, it is built, and it is built painfully, intentionally, slowly, on the altar of discipline forged through brutal honesty with oneself. No one drifts into strength. No one stumbles into greatness. You don't wake up one day a different person. You get there through fire, through pressure, through obedience. And until you understand that, you will keep trying to change with half your heart, while the other half keeps you chained to who you used to be. What is discipline? It is not a system of rules. It is a declaration of war. A war against chaos. A war against sloth. A war against the lies you tell yourself that you're doing fine, when deep down you know you're not. Discipline is refusing to let your comfort dictate your decisions. It is choosing the hard path not once, but every single day, whether you feel like it or not. And if your life is shaped by your feelings, you will live your entire life bowing to whatever mood walks in the door. There are people more talented than you, more intelligent, more gifted, but if you have discipline, they will watch you pass them by, because discipline keeps showing up long after motivation has died. Discipline is faithfulness with your body, your time, your focus, your habits. It is waking up when the alarm goes off. It is making the hard call when it's easier to stay silent. It is finishing what you start. And every time you keep a commitment, you're telling your soul, I am not a slave to comfort. But it is not enough to just schedule your day and build good habits, because even the most disciplined life can be empty if it lacks self-awareness. That is where self-confrontation comes in, and that is where most people fall away, because self-confrontation hurts. It forces you to see what you've tried to avoid. It tears down the lies you built to protect your ego. It exposes the distance between who you are and who you pretend to be. But listen to me, there is no freedom without exposure. You can't heal what you won't name. You can't overcome what you won't admit. And you will never grow if you're more concerned with appearing strong than becoming strong. You must be willing to stand in front of the mirror, not to admire yourself, but to challenge yourself. You must be willing to ask hard questions. Why am I really doing this? What fear is controlling my decisions? Where am I pretending to be busy to avoid what matters most? Where have I made peace with mediocrity? And if you're honest, you'll find things that disgust you. Patterns of compromise, hidden pride, laziness in disguise, anger you've justified, excuses you've baptized, and in that moment you will either repent or retreat. You'll either say, this has to die, or you'll go back to hiding, back to numbing, back to lying to yourself that you're on the right path. But if you choose the narrow road, if you choose to confront, to expose, to repent, and to change, then something powerful begins to shift inside of you. You begin to lead yourself, you begin to rule over your mind instead of being ruled by it. You begin to live with clarity and conviction, not tossed around by emotions, not enslaved by patterns, not aimless, but driven by a vision that is purified through pain. This is not glamorous. No one claps for the man who gets up at 5 a.m. to pray. No one cheers for the woman who cancels her entertainment to study, to fast, to grow. No one applauds the internal battle you fight just to do the right thing when no one is watching. But heaven sees, and more than that, your soul sees. You know when you've taken the easy path. You know when you've looked the other way instead of confronting your sin. And if you keep betraying yourself, eventually your soul will grow dull, and nothing will satisfy, and you'll start blaming the world for what you were supposed to take responsibility for. You must choose to live awake. Intentional, present, not carried along by the tide, but swimming upstream against the pull of culture, against the tide of ease, against the lull of apathy, and you must do it daily, not when it's convenient. Not when you're inspired every single day. You don't train for a fight once a week. You train daily, and life is not a game, it is war. Every day you wake up, there is a battle for your focus, for your energy, for your values. And if you do not stand guard, if you do not live by principle, then someone else will decide who you become. The world will shape you. Distraction will shape you. Bitterness will shape you. But if you commit to intentional discipline, if you commit to brutal self-honesty, you can rise from the ashes of everything that once held you back. Let me be clear. This isn't about achieving success in the eyes of men. This isn't about being admired. This is about being whole, being true, being strong, living without regret. So many people climb the ladder of success only to realize too late that it was leaning against the wrong wall. They gained status, but lost integrity. They gained applause, but lost their soul. That is not transformation. That is deception. True transformation makes you whole from the inside out. It brings your actions into alignment with your convictions. It removes the distance between what you say and who you are, and the only way to get there is to do the work that no one sees. You will not be able to carry out your purpose if you are weighed down by inconsistency. You will not be trusted with influence if your life lacks foundation, and discipline is that foundation. Not a single brick of greatness is laid without it. There is no shortcut around it. You must lay the same brick day after day. And in the beginning, it will feel like nothing is happening, like you're wasting your time. But you are not wasting your time. You are building something that shallow people will never understand. You are building depth. And depth takes time. It takes repetition. It takes the willingness to look foolish for a season in order to stand firm for a lifetime. And as you walk this road, don't expect to be understood. Weak people will call you extreme. Lazy people will call you rigid. Insecure people will say you've changed, and that's because your growth confronts their stagnation. Don't let it stop you. You are not responsible for their comfort. You are responsible for your obedience. And every day that you live with discipline, every day that you confront your soul, you are proving to yourself and to the world that you cannot be bought, that you cannot be swayed, that you are not driven by applause or fear, but by purpose. And that kind of life, the disciplined, honest, intentional life, it's rare, but it's possible, not through hype, not through emotion, through decisions, through sacrifice, through waking up and doing what needs to be done again and again, whether anyone sees it or not. Through choosing the hard thing because it's the right thing, through refusing to let your past define your future, through letting the pain of discipline shape you more than the pain of regret ever will. You will have to leave some things behind, old habits, old mindsets, maybe even old relationships. You can't carry the weight of the old life into the new one. Something has to die for something greater to live. But that's the beauty of transformation. It's not about becoming someone else. It's about becoming who you were always meant to be, before fear distorted you, before sin confused you, before the world told you who to be. Transformation is about reclaiming what was lost. It's about returning to truth, and the only path to that is through the daily, intentional work of discipline and the courageous confrontation of your own soul. Action fueled by conviction is what separates dreamers from warriors. Not ability, not potential, not charisma, not the dreams themselves. The world is full of dreamers. people with incredible visions, people with deep desires to do something great, people who talk about the future, plan endlessly, fantasize about impact, sketch out ideas, build vision boards, and attend seminars. But most of them stay exactly where they are, year after year, because dreaming in itself is easy. You can dream from your couch. You can dream with your eyes closed. You can dream while avoiding pain. But a warrior moves. A warrior takes the dream, strips it of its comfort, and turns it into blood, sweat, time, effort, and sacrifice. A warrior does not live off of imagination alone. A warrior builds, even when the ground is hard, even when the wind is against them. Dreams are cheap when they cost you nothing, and most people would rather stay inspired than become responsible. They are intoxicated by the high of a new idea, the thrill of ambition, the illusion of greatness. But they never translate that energy into daily obedience. They never bring their dream down into the dirt, because down in the dirt is where dreams get real. That's where faith becomes action. That's where you find out what you really believe, not by what you say, but by what you are willing to suffer for. Conviction doesn't stay in theory. Conviction moves, conviction acts, conviction bleeds. It shows up when it's hard. It presses forward when every emotion says stop. It digs deeper when others quit. Conviction is the difference between a fleeting desire and a holy fire. Many people confuse interest with conviction. Interest says, I like the idea of that. Conviction says, I must do this, even if it costs me everything. Interest fades when obstacles arise. Conviction grows stronger. Interest needs support and applause. Conviction walks alone if it must. Interest talks. Conviction acts. And if you want to become unstoppable, you must find what you're truly convicted about. Not what excites you, but what burns in you so deeply that silence is no longer an option. If your dream can live without action, it's not conviction, it's fantasy. Conviction is dangerous to the comfortable. It breaks you. It wrecks your illusions. It demands more than words. It puts pressure on your soul and says, either change or walk away. And that's where most people choose to walk away. They'd rather stay dreamers, because a dreamer can always say, one day. A dreamer can delay. A dreamer can hide behind potential. But warriors, they carry weight. They take hits. They lose friends. They disappoint people who want them to stay small. Because a warrior is not concerned with comfort. A warrior is not here to fit in. A warrior is here to finish the work, and that means waking up when you're tired, standing firm when you're alone, and doing the next right thing when no one is watching. Conviction doesn't start with volume. It starts in the secret place. It's born in silence. It's birthed in the tension between what you believe and what you're doing, and it demands integrity. You cannot live one way and believe another, not for long. The war inside you will eventually surface. Sooner or later, your feet must follow your faith. And this is why action matters so much, because it is the proof, not the only proof, but a critical one. You say you care. Show it. You say you want to change the world. Start by showing up on time. You say you believe in your calling. Then why are you still waiting for conditions to be perfect? There is no perfect moment. There is no ideal day. There is now, and every moment you delay, your conviction either weakens or dies. The enemy of conviction is comfort, and comfort is seductive. It tells you you're doing enough. It tells you you're still young. It tells you it's okay to wait. But if you listen to that voice long enough, you will look up one day and realize that the time you wasted was the price of your impact. Warriors don't wait for the right mood. They act, because they know that delayed obedience is disobedience, that dreams not acted on become chains. You were not meant to live in the waiting room of your purpose. You were meant to step into it, not recklessly, but courageously, with trembling hands if necessary, but stepping in nonetheless. And make no mistake, action will cost you. It will cost you energy, reputation, time, approval. But inaction costs more. It costs your integrity. It costs your peace. It costs the future you were meant to build. You will never regret taking a step born from true conviction. You will regret all the steps you never took because fear convinced you to stay still. It's not about achieving overnight results. That's not conviction, that's ego. True conviction isn't concerned with speed, it's concerned with faithfulness. Warriors don't sprint and burn out. They show up daily. They build slowly. They labor consistently. And they don't do it to be seen. They do it because something deep inside of them will not let them stay silent. They carry something they cannot shake. They move not for applause, but because to not move would be betrayal. There are dreamers who speak like warriors, but when the battle starts, they're nowhere to be found. Because warriors are not revealed on the mountaintop. They are revealed in the valley, when the plan fails. When the money dries up, when the people leave, when the doors close, that's when conviction either dies or deepens. And if it's real, it grows stronger in the dark. It becomes like a fire shut up in your bones. You can't not act, you can't not build, you can't not move, because it would violate everything you know to be true. This is the fire that makes people unstoppable. Not talent, not resources, not connections. Conviction. The kind of conviction that puts its head down and keeps going when the world says quit. That builds without guarantees. That labors without praise. That endures misunderstanding and betrayal and failure and still says, I will not stop. Because conviction is not about how you feel. It's about what you've decided, and once you decide, you stop negotiating. You stop asking for comfort. You stop needing consensus. You begin, you act, you fight. Some of you are waiting for courage to arrive before you act. It won't. Action produces courage, not the other way around. Courage is built in motion. When you act despite the fear, despite the doubt, despite the uncertainty, that is when you become strong. Not when you wait for clarity, but when you move with conviction through the fog. That's when your heart learns to trust. That's when your faith becomes substance. You cannot separate conviction from sacrifice. They are married. They walk hand in hand. You cannot say you are convicted about something and yet unwilling to pay the price for it. Conviction requires your hands, your voice, your time, your pain. It requires you to put something real on the altar. That's what makes it costly. That's what makes it holy. The problem is that many have been taught to love convenience more than conviction, to love inspiration more than application. But inspiration without action is nothing but emotional noise. It leaves you stirred but unchanged. It makes you feel alive, but produces no fruit. You were not made to dream only. You were made to build, to lead, to fight, to labor, to finish. And yes, you will be misunderstood. People will question you. They'll wonder why you're so intense, why you push so hard, why you can't just relax. Let them wonder. Let them laugh. Let them doubt, because one day they will see the fruit, and they will realize that you weren't chasing ambition. You were obeying conviction. There is a difference. The world doesn't need more noise. It needs people who live from their guts, from their spirit, from the place where fire burns and nothing can put it out. And if you don't know what your conviction is yet, that's where your search begins. Don't look outward, look inward, get quiet, get alone, shut off the world's voices, ask yourself, what am I willing to suffer for? What would I do if no one clapped? What truth would I speak if no one agreed? What mountain would I climb even if I had to climb it alone? That's where your fire lives. That's where your real life begins, not in the fantasy, but in the furnace. The ones who change the world are not the loudest. They are not always the smartest. They are the ones who act, who move, who bleed, who carry something heavier than applause, vision born of conviction and walked out in sacrifice. They may look ordinary, but their obedience is fierce. Their consistency is terrifying. Their willingness to pay the price is what sets them apart. So many are waiting for the right circumstances, but warriors know the right moment is now. Warriors know that movement is obedience. They act not because it's easy, but because to not act would make them liars. They refuse to live in conflict with what they believe, and that is what makes them powerful. You don't need more ideas. You don't need more feelings. You need to decide. You need to act. You need to wake up tomorrow and begin, not perfectly, not with everything figured out, but with a heart that is sure, with feet that are ready, with eyes fixed on something greater than fear, greater than fear, greater than fear, greater than fear.